Hey guys, thanks for tuning in for another week of Mac Outdoors with Mia and Lea. Today we have a very intense subject that we're discussing. So grab a seat, tune in, sit, kick back, relax, and we're going to be discussing kids and guns.
This summer, whether you're at the range or in the field, WSI Sports' Hypertech bamboo tanks, tees, and leggings will have you covered. Visit WSISports.com and use Leah's affiliate code LLCO10 for 10% off your purchase. All products are proudly made in the USA. WSI is bringing back pride in American-made clothing. Again, that code is LLCO10 for 10% off your order at WSISports.com.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the Mac Outdoors podcast, where a dynamic mother-daughter duo share their adventures, tips, and advice. I am Mia, and I'll be accompanied by the one and only daughter, Lea. It is time to get to outdoors, hunt, shoot, and spend time with family and friends. Let's get this show on the road.
I'm curious as to how you became so responsible with firearms.
Because I'm scared.
You're scared?
Scared of them.
You're scared of firearms?
Scared of them, so I respect them.
Ah, so you're scared of them, so you respect
Not
them.
like-
Is that because, like, you know what they can do?
Yeah. Like, I'm not like, oh, I'm scared, I want to shoot them. Like, I know how they can hurt someone or anything, and so, like, I respect them.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be shooting my thumb off.
So did you kind of learn how to respect them just from, like, Hunter's Ed and YHEC? Did they teach you that there, or were there other places that you learned how to respect them?
Yes. Why heck and Hunter's Ed and just shooting with you guys.
Shooting with the family and stuff like that?
Yes.
Yeah. And, like, for our listeners, they probably don't know, like, about your dad's foot. Did you know about your dad's foot and what happened, and how did that make you feel about guns?
Yeah, I knew about what had happened. Basically, a hunting accident with family, and that I didn't ever really consider it until I was older, really thinking of that. I remember when I would go hunt with my friends, I'd be like, oh yeah, my dad shot his foot almost completely off, but it never really like connected two and two together until I was a little older and was like, oh wow, that is a major effect on you for the rest of your life as he's gotten older and had to deal with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you kind of learned later that it definitely can cause some serious damage, but you already knew, like, don't point the muzzle at anything you don't want to destroy, right?
Exactly, yeah.
i.e., don't point the muzzle at your foot or your hand or anything like that, right?
Yeah, and I think I actually really connected with it when I started shooting trap, because people would put their gun on their toe. And I'd be like, all it would make me think of was like, my dad shot his foot off. And I know it's a completely different circumstance because their guns aren't, they're break actions most of the time. I mean, a few people at the ranges I've been to have had semi-autos and put them on their foot, and
That's scary.
that was probably when it connected. I was like, I'm not putting my gun on my foot, and that's when I got that barrel pad for it and set it on there. And
so just the thought of it, and I've even said this, like, to friends, and like, when we go to gun shows, like, yeah, there's no firing pin in those guns, but it's weird to have somebody point a muzzle in your direction.
yeah, and especially all the people there that look like they've never even touched a gun before, and they're like pointing it directly at you, and you're like, whoa, this is not okay.
Yeah. And so even, I mean, now you went to your first gun show to SHOT Show when you were 16.
Yeah.
That's when you were old enough. But you already knew, like, when you grab a gun, you keep your finger off the trigger.
Yeah.
When did you learn that?
That was day one of even being around the guns with you guys.
Yeah, even with your BB gun.
Yeah, with my BB gun with even the little bow and arrow. Don't point the metal stick at.
You remember playing with a bow and arrow when you were little?
Yeah.
That's great. I didn't know if you remembered that or not. I don't think we've ever talked about how little you were when you first shot a bow. Maybe we're gonna have to have an episode, an archery episode, and talk about Leah's first bow because Easter's coming and we also give away bows at the Easter shoot, right? So next episode, guys, we'll talk about archery. But anyways, this episode we really wanted to talk about guns and respect, and it's something that I think as parents Hank and I both took to heart this latest school shooting because the school shooter is the same age as Leah. And he also had a background in firearms. I don't know what kind of education they give at ROTC at that particular school and that unit, but Leah was taught respect for other people. And I think that is a very big deal. This kid, he was bullied. And Leah, have you ever experienced bullying from other kids?
I haven't been like fully picked on or people calling me names. I know there's a lot of different ways of bullying. I know there's plenty of cyber bullies and stuff like that, but I never really took it to heart if I ever did get any hate on anything, or there's always some sort of drama being a high school kid, but I think depending how strong you are in your with yourself and how your family is around you, and even the people you surround yourself with at school. I didn't surround myself with all the insecure girls that, all took that to heart and was like, well, they didn't like this, so I'm going to follow the leader and change to make people like me. I was like, well, one person doesn't like me. There's 7 billion other people in the world that, could care less.
Yeah. And didn't you also something that I think, and I mean, everybody has their theories and speculations about this kid, but something that I noted right away was that the age, like the comparison, and they said he was bullied and he was too young to have a gun, which I don't agree. I mean, I think there, just as we try to teach kids, there's certain ages where a parent knows their 6-year-old can learn how to handle a gun, or a parent knows their 12-year-old is finally ready to handle a gun. But that's because the parents are involved and responsible. And something that I noted was these parents said they had no idea the struggles that their son was going through. And you always came home and you talked to us. You would talk to me or you would talk to Hank about different subjects, different whatever you were comfortable with. And I think you had a great support system, so I think that's really important for parents to be there for their kids and pay attention, because I know sometimes you say you're not paying attention, but really we did pay attention to you, like which I try not to be distracted when you're speaking, but sometimes I agree I am. But that's something that I felt like even now you still have a support system. You're, 1,000 miles away, but you still have a support system if you need someone to talk to, right?
Yeah.
I mentioned this with the parents because the very first news reports said that this kid had been in care for mental health. He had been, they had reported him to the FBI. YouTube had reported him. Other people had reported him. Teachers had reported him. So I don't understand how could those parents not know this poor kid's struggle. And really, I feel bad for the kid. I don't feel bad for him because of what he did, but I feel bad because it could have been prevented if his parents maybe paid attention to him. So I don't know. That's just a kind of little tangent that I'm going off on. But I really wanted to share with our listeners that there are kids that are responsible and there's reasons why they became that way. And in earlier episodes, we've talked about how excited you were when you got to buy your first shotgun, but we weren't worried as parents because we know that you respect not just the shotgun, but you respect other people and you,
Yeah, I know a lot of people view a gun as like something that they can use to when they're mad. Well, I'm gonna get the gun. I've had people say, like, well, as long as you don't shoot them. I never ever think of a gun. If I'm mad at someone, I don't think, well, I have this gun. I own this gun and this person made me mad. So this is the solution. I've never remotely thought of a gun as that. A gun is a tool. I don't consider it a weapon. People call it a weapon. It's not a weapon, it's a firearm. I don't use it to hurt anyone. It is not something that I view as something you kill with, even if it is a hunting rifle or you hunt ducks with it. I don't consider it a weapon even then. It's a firearm. I carry a firearm for protection, for fun. And fun isn't really killing things. It's
To go and shoot targets and stuff at the range like that.
right.
And that's something I think some people who don't know about using firearms, actually going to the range, you learn discipline, you learn responsibility, you do learn respect because at a gun range, whether it's one in your own backyard, which we happen to be fortunate enough to have because of the area we live in, or if it's one in the big city where you have 10 people in bays beside one another, you have to respect each other. And I think that's something that should be taught in every household is respect, and not just respect for your elders, but also for the elders to have respect for the kids, because I think that's something that some kids don't get either is respect from adults. So I think it goes both ways, and that's something that is seems to be lacking, at least as far as social media goes, is that mutual respect of one another. So hopefully we somehow can find a way to bring that back into our culture and into society.
Yeah, and I can attest to not the respect of having from an older person. Even at the range, I am by myself every time I go. I sometimes will invite friends to come along, but a lot of the time the older people have no respect. I know on a previous episode we talked about my experience with an older gentleman at a competition pretty much disrespecting me. And in my view, if someone wants my respect, I deserve the same respect back. And I am respectful until they are not.
Yeah.
And in that case, that's how it went.
Yeah, and
I,
even in that instance, like you said, that guy, he did disrespect you. I mean, there's no doubt about it. He was rude to you. He degraded you. He was, very disrespectful. And you had a shotgun in your hand, and there never once was a thought in your mind about using the shotgun to this man. What you did was you went out on the range and you said, "I'm going to show you and I'm going to win." And you did.
exactly. I never, yeah,
And you shot clays and you shot well and you won the competition. Like that's where the direction of emotions should go, not directly toward a person. It's like if somebody disrespects me in the line at the grocery store, does that mean I'm going to punch him in the face? No, that doesn't. It's like I'm not just going to pull out a weapon because somebody is disrespecting me. And that's something where I don't know where somebody's mental state is, but how do you get to that point where people are disrespecting you so much that you think you need to take a gun and go harm others? And I I don't get it, but I obviously know like at your age, you understand respect and you understand firearms as well. So I'm sure there are lots of other kids that know guns like you do and can be competent with them and are responsible enough to own them.
yeah, I agree. And I think that it all starts with education. There's plenty of people that want to learn. I am trying to actually start a shotgun club at our school. And all the interest I've had is kids who want to learn, who want to be involved, want to learn how to shoot a shotgun. It's not even about shooting the clays and trying to win a competition. That's why I've looked at it more as a club rather than a sport, because I want to involve these people that maybe come from the big city of Seattle and have never gone to a gun range but are interested in it. I want, since a lot of the time older people at the range aren't really willing to help. Well, you're just a kid. I'm not going to give you the time of day. I want to be a kid giving another kid a time of day, and we're all the same. Either way, if I know a little more than you do, I want to educate you, and maybe you'll continue it. Maybe you'll bring your friends. Maybe you'll go home and be like, I tried something new, and this is something I experienced in college. I learned how to shoot a shotgun or something like that.
Yeah.
And
And hopefully, when you're teaching, and I know, and to let our listeners know, you're going to go to an instructor course, and I'm excited about that because you'll learn a proper way to teach others. And part of that proper way is to teach the respect, which I know you will do because you know that already. So hopefully that respect can then be passed along from these kids to other kids, and the responsibility that goes along with it can be passed along as well. What do you think? I mean, you're at a university where firearms aren't allowed on campus, and yours is in the armory, so it's not, it's even though it's in the area, it's secured. But what do you think about arming teachers? Like, if a shooter comes right now, what they're teaching in a lot of schools is duck and cover. And I had to explain the scenario to a friend the other day is, if there's a fire in the school, do I duck and cover and hope that the fire doesn't come to the classroom that I'm in? Do I hide in the closet and hope that it doesn't come there? No, you have an escape plan. And so I don't understand why there aren't escape plans, first of all. And I think there should be an escape plan, but also teachers are taught how to use fire extinguishers and stuff like that in the case of a fire. Combat the fire and evacuation are two important things. But what do you think about arming teachers if they want to? I mean, you shared an article the other day, and teachers can volunteer to carry and protect the students. What do you think about that?
yeah, I actually, being on the university, every class I go to is in a different either lecture hall or smaller classroom. And honestly, every time I sit down, I think, if someone came in here right now, where would I go or how would I get out?
Mm-hmm.
And I know plenty of people don't do that. I do it when I go to a restaurant, when I go even to the movies, if I go out anywhere. That's the first thing I think is, if someone came in here right now, how would I get out and
Yeah.
or even protect myself as a student? I can't remotely be protecting myself.
Right.
And on this campus, it's one of the higher schools it's the highest college campus for rapes on campus, and they don't allow anyone to carry firearms. And they say, well, we have an escort service if you feel in danger. Well, how long is it going to take that person to get to you before
Right.
You're like safe? Or yeah, you don't really know. And we have on-campus police that respond to things like that, but still, I would feel so much more safe if I knew I could protect myself. And I don't want to throw myself in front of everyone. If a shooter comes in with a gun, I'm not going to be like, well, I have my pistol, so I'm going to stop you.
Yeah.
I don't look at it as that.
That's something I think people are mistaken too, is they think they'll be the hero. And sometimes I really like when you were saying that, you think of how to get away, because that's very important. Fight or flight. And if somebody else is more armed than you, then I think your scenario. Hey guys, we are very thankful that you tune in each week to listen to our podcast. As you can see, there's a lot of passion in this conversation that Lea and I were having, and unfortunately, we had technical difficulties. I had problems with my computer and had to purchase a new one in order to do this, but it didn't finish recording the end of our segment, for which we apologize. We will try to do better in the future. But Lea discussed attending Gun Sight Academy and handgun defense classes, and she has a lot of experience in this. She has a lot of knowledge, as you can see, and we hope that you gained some insight in this. This is a huge topic, and I'm very impressed that Lea is so aware and she has had so much insight. I hope that you'll continue to follow. Next week we'll have a new episode for you, and for now we're signing off. Thank you again for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and if you would, give us a review on iTunes so that our podcast can be found by more individuals. Talk to you later. Thanks again. Bye.